Welcome to another episode of Ruff Talk VR, a weekly podcast with in-depth game reviews, exclusive developer interviews, and the latest Oculus Quest news. We join our hosts Dscruffles and Stratus2k1 today as they spend another episode breaking down and discussing the Oculus Quest virtual reality world.
Hey guys, we had a great time talking to Ryan Engle today. We just finished our interview. So, Stratus, what did you think of that all?
Oh, I think he's awesome. He's a fun guy, definitely chill, has a big future for his game. We had some great discussions. I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
Hey guys, we're here with Ryan Engle of TopGolf with Pro Putt. Before we start ranting a whole bunch and asking a whole bunch of questions, why don't you explain for our listeners real quick, Ryan, exactly who you are, your role with TopGolf, and then we'll start throwing some questions your way.
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Ryan, and I'm the founder of a company called Golf Scope, and we are the creators of the Quest game TopGolf with Pro Putt. So we partnered with TopGolf, but we're an independent company. We don't have any ownership in TopGolf. TopGolf doesn't have any ownership in us. We have a partnership agreement. We're our own independent studio. And later this year, we'll be releasing full course into the game. We're pretty focused and excited on continuing to push VR golf forward.
I definitely want to say when I saw the posting that you were going full course, I can't even. You made my friggin' year. I am stoked. It was the one thing every time we were playing it last night, and I'm like, man, I can't wait for this full course to drop because this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
What pushed you in this VR direction? Because not a lot of people want to, I guess, invest in the VR world. But what chose you to go? Hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to make it as real and fun as possible.
Yeah, I've been into golf and computers since I was about 11. I started playing golf when I was 11, and was on computers even before that. But then I started writing code in high school when I was about 13 or 14, and was super into video games, super into golf, super into computers. I actually, once I got into writing code, I spent more time, trying to write video games than actually play video games. Although I definitely spent enough time playing video games too. But playing 3D games, kind of growing up playing games like Counter-Strike or Age of Empires or Command and Conquer, there's always kind of the desire to do something very immersive. And I got my computer science degree from Virginia Tech for college. And after graduating, my last semester, there was this class called Virtual Environments, and it was a graduate level class. But as a senior, I was able to get into it, and it was a really small class. So we had these awesome discussions about like what's a virtual environment, and this was 2007. So this is long before AR or VR were really, a consumer thing in any respect. I mean, it was all kind of research based, and the headsets and options out there were just, pretty ridiculous and expensive. But at Virginia Tech, they had something called a cave, which was this rear projected room. So imagine standing in this like 10 by 10 by 10 room, and they project onto all the walls and the floor. You're actually missing the ceiling and you're missing the wall behind you, but there are, 4 walls that they're projecting onto, and you're wearing these, they're called these active stereo glasses, so that you're seeing something different out of each eye, which allows you to see it in 3D. And you're standing in this kind of box in a 3D world, and it's like, in a weird way, it's kind of the ultimate, holodeck VR experience, because not only can you see the 3D content very clearly, but you can actually still see your hands and your feet and your body. So there's no disassociation, and you can move around and see things in 6 degrees of freedom, like the Quest. I got to do some experiments, and it just kind of blew my mind. It was like, wow, this is going to be really interesting. Obviously, everyone's not going to have a cave in their house because it's this massive room and an insanely powerful computer to kind of power it at the time. But it was like, okay, VR is really compelling. And then, it kind of moved on because I was more focused on consumer things. Long story short, ended up doing mobile games and mobile apps for quite a while. Worked on a project where the goal was to put glasses on your face in AR. This project started in 2011, so again, before AR was really a thing people were talking about. And we ended up launching in 2013, and it worked incredibly well, even for back then. I mean, even compared to now. The glasses looked great. They stuck to your face. It wasn't real time, but you could kind of record a video of your head turning side to side, and then we would put the glasses on, and you could see them stick to your face even while you panned your head side to side. You could move the glasses up and down on your nose, and that was really my first real intro into kind of consumer AR. And it was a really cool project, but at the time, all the computer vision and rendering and stuff like that was, completely custom. We did it all. We partnered with some folks in Australia that were the best at kind of facial recognition and creating a 3D head model from images. And it was a very expensive app to create, and it took a lot of time. And it was like, okay, this is really cool, but most companies aren't going to be able to do this. Ended up working at another small e-commerce startup for about 4 years, and then Apple released ARKit, and that kind of got me interested in AR again, because I was like, okay, well, when Apple releases something, that's usually a good sign that the market might be ready. So ended up founding this company, Golf Scope, and what we did is we used your iPhone to scan a golf green, and it would read the contours of the green, create a 3D model of it, and it would let you mark your ball and mark the hole. And then we would show you the line from the ball to the hole. You could change the green speed to see how that affected the line. And it worked pretty well. And we got featured by Apple and got App of the Day. And that was kind of the business that was this business. But it was really hard to get people to use it on a golf course. And we had a subscription model. And it just ended up being pretty clear that AR is cool and people like it, but people don't really use it very often. Other than kind of face filters, like AR is just not particularly useful on a daily basis. So we were trying to figure out what to do with the business, and then Oculus announced the Quest, and the Quest came out, and ended up taking the physics engine that we had to power the AR golf scope app and try to build a VR app to see if if putting physics felt right, and got it working, and they felt great. And that was at that point it was kind of like, all right guys, well, this AR business isn't going to work, so let's just go all in on VR.
No, that's you guys killed it with the game, though. But do you think the problem with AR is too advanced for the time right now, and it's more of the future, not the current?
Yeah, I think mobile AR is a pretty bad experience unless you're using face filters where you can hold the phone and see your face. But if you're using the back camera, the problem I see is that your phone is just such a tiny window into what's happening in the world when you're holding it up and looking through it, that if you look at the AR videos that get posted online, a lot of them look really cool because you're seeing the entire view. But as a user, you're seeing this like tiny window, and it's just really hard to do anything useful, because then you're trying to push a button on the screen that's like related to what's happening in AR. And I just haven't really seen anything particularly useful that I think people are going to use on a daily basis, because it's a pretty high friction action to hold your phone out and try to do AR and then do any sort of interaction. I do think once we have glasses, which have a ton of technical challenges, I think AR will come back, and ultimately the headset, the device that we all use, I think will be some combination of AR and VR, and it'll kind of seamlessly meld between the two.
No, I love the AR putting app, though. I mean, we wondered if it was the same concept that you just transitioned over for VR, but I thought the concept of having the ability to look at, what you're recommending as a line in a real golf game, that had my attention real quick.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I enjoyed using it too, but frankly, we eventually took it off the store, and even now, it's like when I go play golf. Honestly, I try not to look at my phone because it's one of the few times I can kind of escape from the noise of a phone. Uh, so yeah, I think it's kind of this golf's this interesting activity for me where it's like it's less about technology while you're playing, and having the phone there to kind of read the line was like kind of taking away from the moment.
Completely understandable. I often see the AR and VR debate, like which one's gonna take over first. I'm with you. I think VR is more here and now, and AR is more something that we're gonna see. It's even more in the infancy phase than VR. So like we were saying earlier, we're talking about the full course release. Couple questions about that actually. Do you currently have an estimated release date for it? I know it's in beta right now.
Yeah, we're planning to release it in I'm gonna say November. It could be a little bit sooner, but probably around November. So it'll definitely be this year. That's the goal, unless something happens that's unforeseen. But we should be able to get it out by November and have it ready and all the issues ironed out for the holidays.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And will that be available in match play as well?
Yeah,
Like the one-on-one? I'm excited.
Yeah, I told you I was gonna. This is one I've been waiting for.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that was
somebody
actually
to do it.
that was something that was like our only complaint. Not even complaint.
It wasn't a complaint. It was
it
a
was a
selfish
wish.
It was a selfish wish because we had emphasized that nowhere did you say
Hey, this is a full course
this is a
simulator.
full course simulator. No, and so we were just being selfish by even wanting it. Beyond happy.
Yeah, we have very competitive matchups. Like just last night, we were playing some games. We went to playoffs, the overtime. It's fun, man. But 18 holes is gonna. I think we'll have a clear winner by then.
Yeah, you never
Um,
know. I mean, that's one of the challenges of developing games is you have to handle every possible scenario, right? You can't just ship a game that just doesn't handle playoffs or does it in kind of a crappy way. And actually, when we first shipped the game, we were like, well, playoffs are going to be they're going to happen, but they're going to be fairly uncommon. So why don't we just let you play hole 9? We'll just repeat hole 9 until somebody wins, because hole 9 on every course is pretty tough. So someone's going to win eventually. And so we built it that way because it was simpler and we were kind of already under the gun. And we got a review from a few people, and they're like, it's kind of lame that you can only do a playoff on hole 9. Why don't you mix it up and let people play other holes? And at the same time, internally we had been playing a lot, and me and my co-founder are very competitive in everything, but especially in this game. And we just go back and forth on who wins. And we had felt the exact same thing, where it's like you get into a heated playoff and you play hole 9 and you're like, man, I wish it wasn't hole 9 again. Like, let's play a different hole. So we ended up, implementing the kind of existing way that it works, where it just keeps going backwards until you could eventually get to hole 1. And actually, honestly, I don't even know what happens after you get to hole 1. It may just start hole 9 again and repeat the sequence, but at least that way, you're not playing the same hole over and over again.
I don't think we've ever. I think we've always finished off on the first playoff.
Oh, really?
One of us always chose.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, keep going, see what happens.
I never even knew. Yeah, I never even knew that it kept going backwards.
Yeah, it's pretty
One of us
cool.
usually, our games are tight, so usually if one of us screws up, it's
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I'll mess up and I'll be like, well, there's the game.
you just,
Mess up on hole 4. I'm like, well, he got me. He got me. So do you have a favorite game mode in the entire game? The putting, the
Yeah, I mean, I spend most of my time, if I'm playing multiplayer, I pretty much always do stroke play. Because that way match play is pretty cool since you can kind of be more aggressive, because worst case scenario is you lose one hole. But in stroke play, like every single shot matters, so you really can't get sloppy at all. And if you're losing by a lot, there's always kind of the hope that you'll hit a miracle shot and the other person will mess up and the tables can turn, especially on peaks and forest where there are a couple holes where anything can happen. So I like that. It like keeps the heat on all the way up until the end, and that's fun for me. Sometimes it's very frustrating, but it's usually fun. So stroke play for multiplayer is where I tend to spend most of my time. And And then if I'm just going to kind of hang out solo, I love to hit chip shots on the Top Golf green and put on some music, and then just try to put some backspin on it, or just go for different pins and that type of thing. And then sometimes I'll just pull out the driver and just try to smash the ball as far as I can.
There's been two moments I've seen Stratus over here completely light up. One when you mentioned Red Alert and strategy games, Command and Conquer, and two right there when you just mentioned that being your favorite mode.
Oh yeah, that is one of my most chill areas to. Sometimes if Scruffles is doing something, I'll just jump into that game and we'll just stay on the mic and I'll just start hitting the shots. Did you intend it to be so socially cool when you that whole area with the different little games you can play, the fire pit, the marshmallows? I mean, it screams awesome, chill, social. I mean, was that 100% the desire doing it, or were you just
that was
building just separate?
That was a big motivating factor. We partner with TopGolf, obviously, and I don't know if you guys have had a chance to go to TopGolf, but TopGolf is much more about the socializing and hanging out with friends and having a good time than it is about the golf or the games. Obviously, it depends. That can change for particular groups, but if you go to TopGolf and you look around and see who's hitting shots, for the most part, you're not getting pro golfers out there. So it's just about having a good time and hanging out. And golf's kind of one of those activities where everyone can be doing it at the same time, but still be hanging out and like take a break and talk. And it's not like a shooter game or something where it's like you got to be on the ball the whole time, and it's kind of, you're really amped up. So we thought we had a really unique opportunity to build something that was a lot more chill, where you could just hang out by the fire pit and talk for a while, or go play cornhole, or go hit some shots down range, or go to the island green, or go hang out on the yacht. And we plan to build that out even further. We have some really interesting ideas for kind of mini games and other things that you can do where you're still hitting a golf ball, but you're doing it in a very different way. So yeah, it's just been really fun to kind of have that as kind of an excuse to just build this playground where it's like, where would I want to hang out if I could kind of have my ultimate quote unquote like man cave? Like, what would it look like and what would it have? And being obsessed with golf, it's like, all right, well, let's just build this kind of virtual Topgolf venue into something like that.
No, I'll be honest, that's one of our absolute favorite parts. Like
the music that you could set the background. It's comfortable.
All the social games, like
you want to be there.
Luckily, we started playing after the update that included it, so that's been our entire experience with the game. Is the social experience is being there. We love it. As Facebook keeps improving their avatars, it's going to get even better. If they can ever get like a face scan or something, a realistic avatar, then that'll be even better. Maybe we'll even start recording podcasts in there. It's such a cool hangout by the fire, roasting marshmallows.
I love the fire pit.
Yeah. We were going to do like a little promo video hyping up the interview and the episode by the fire pit, and, like each have a camera and everything like that. But we opted not to, just because the avatars don't really look like us at all. But, oh man,
distort the image a little.
Yeah. So besides your game, obviously, what are some of your favorite games and experiences in VR?
Yeah, right before this interview, and I try to do this almost every morning and often right before meetings, is Supernatural, the workout app. I just find the environments are amazing. I mean, it's got basically that Beat Saber mechanic, but they've got this mode called Quick Hits, which is like these generally like 7 to 10 minute workouts where it's like 2 songs, and then you're done. And by the time I'm done, I'm usually not like profusely sweating, but like my heart rate's up. I've broken a little bit of a sweat, kind of got that stagnant energy out, and I'm in a more creative mindset. So I really like Supernatural. I was really skeptical of the subscription option, and for the longest time I didn't subscribe because I just didn't think I would use it enough. But then after I finally decided to subscribe, I found it really has motivated me to use it more often, since I know I'm already paying for it. so I'm actually I don't know what their financials look like or anything like that, but I hope it's doing really well. I think it's a great way to attract a different audience to VR than just gamers, which I think is really important for the space. So Supernatural is way up there. Another, I don't know if I'd call it a hidden gem, but something that I think more people should get is Cubism, and it's a puzzle game where you kind of put these pieces together in 3D, and the UI and the UX and the sound effects and everything like that is just really really polished, really well done. Like it looks like something that Apple would release, and it's all done by one guy. And he's really, really nice and smart. And he and I were able to connect before it came out, and he he was asking some questions about just getting on the store and stuff like that, but he was able to quit his full-time job to pursue this full-time, which I think is amazing. And it's just been really cool to see what he's been able to put out there, because it's kind of a relatively simple concept, but the execution just makes it a must have. And I think it's only like $10, so it's like 100% something to check out. Beat Saber is obviously great. Pistol Whip is always super fun. Let's see. Racket NX is another one that I really enjoyed. I used to play tennis growing up, so that was fun. 11 Table Tennis is probably, I'd say, one of the best like sports simulation games out there. There are these 3D printed attachments that you can connect your controller to, so that you're holding a ping pong paddle. And I play ping pong a lot. I used to play every day at the last startup I was at, and then I joined a club here and like have a rating and all of that. So I'm probably a lot more competitive than I should be when it comes to ping pong, but they did such a good job of recreating it. I was kind of skeptical because of latency and just the feel of it and spin and all the things that make the game interesting. And I was amazed. Once you hold on to this sort of paddle attachment and play, it's pretty easy to forget that you're not playing for real, which is really amazing. So yeah, those are kind of the games I lean towards. I'm not really into shooter games as much, although I do. Space Pirate Trainer was the first VR game that I got really into and would play pretty consistently. But like Population One, I haven't gotten into yet, and I think I don't get too motion sick, but I do tend to prefer games where I'm not moving with the joystick.
No, it's actually funny. We just finished reviewing Beat Saber as well. It's funny too. The last gentleman that we interviewed, the developer of Rodent People Origins, he actually mentioned Space Pirate Trainer as his first.
That was the one that got him motivated, I think, to program the game he programmed.
Oh, nice.
And I gotta say, man, I think you were a little ahead of your time with your golf AR thing, because now
100%.
now everything's a subscription model, like you just mentioned. Super Hot and everything like that. Everything's super subscription right now.
Yeah, the Quest isn't
years
like
ago
that.
It wasn't, but
The Quest is still it hasn't hit that point yet, where there's a lot of subscription there.
Well,
it's I think the VR community is kind of being a bit guarded to try to avoid some of the pitfalls of where mobile went.
Well, it works for some games. It works for others it doesn't. Like a fitness game makes sense because it's just like going to the gym. It's like Peloton,
paying a gym membership anyways.
For like a golf game, it might not make the most sense at all, but
I'd pay for additional courses.
Yeah, as DLC. Yeah,
I'd be
down.
hands down. It's like someone drop a $10 course and go, hey, here's 18 holes. I am more than content with if I know the developer's getting the money and improving their game or making new content, and I'm one of the first to drop cash.
Nice.
No
well,
problem.
I'll let me run an idea by you, because we haven't fully decided exactly how we're going to roll this out, but our plan right now is we'll include at least one full 18-hole course for free for everybody that owns the game, and for anybody that buys the game. We're not planning to change the price of the game. This can all change, but as of right now, we're not planning to change the price of the game. Full course, including one course, will be completely free. for everybody, if you purchase the game. And then we do plan on selling courses. And figuring out the pricing will take some time, but we don't want to make it too expensive. A couple cool things we're planning on doing is, if you buy a course, then you can invite anybody you want to play with you on that course, right? You own that course. You can invite, up to 3 other people to play with you on the course whenever you want. The other people don't have to own the course. So if you have a group of, let's say, 4 people, each person could buy a course, and then you could play all 4 courses together that way, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing that we're eventually thinking about doing, and we'll see where it nets out, is, courses will be DLC, but once we have enough courses, like let's say we get to 10 courses, we're thinking about having a subscription product where you can subscribe. And once you're subscribed, you'll get access to every course that we release. And there might be some perks. There might be some courses that you can only get access to if you're subscribed. But once you're subscribed, you get access to every course. And, next year, our goal is to release a new course every month. So the goal is to, over time, have dozens or hundreds of courses available. And instead of you having to kind of pick and choose and spend, $5 to $10 on each one, you could just subscribe and never have to choose and have access to the whole library.
That sounds pretty incredible. You're in a whole new ball game with that many courses.
Course a month. So
that's aggressive.
Yeah, I know you asked our opinions and everything like that. So selling course and everything like that. Hey, you guys got to make money. We all saw the reaction to the Facebook ads, which we'll talk more about in a minute. You guys that was something we said in our episode, man. Your game is very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
We said you could have even sold it for more.
We said undersold, I think.
And then you look at something like Beat Saber. Beat Saber is a $30 game that sells like $10 music packs
and more.
A whole bunch of them. That we play Beat Saber multiplayer, right? One of our biggest complaints is that if he owns the music pack and I don't,
you can't play.
No,
song.
I would just sit there and watch him.
Yeah.
That's the only option. It goes, you don't own this track. So the fact that you said like, hey, you're playing with your friends.
Yeah, I buy it all. You can at least play with me.
I like the idea of there being the option here. Hey, if you want to just buy the individual tracks, whatever their courses, whatever they're priced, $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever, and then have the option of subscription model. I think that's great. The subscription model option, just get them all. If there's going to be one every month, is a genius idea as well. The only thing that you said at all that I have at all the slightest mixed feeling at all is that there being some locked behind the subscription. But at the same time, then, if there's going to be hundreds of courses, I don't even know if that's an issue.
Well, and I wouldn't be upset about it because it's like owning a limited skin.
Yeah. What would I know it's probably way too far out to even begin to talk about, but like, what would be the subscription price that you would be looking at?
I think the subscription price would probably be around the equivalent to buying, like, let's just say 5 to 10 courses, right? So once you get to the point where you've bought 5 or more courses, then we'll give you an option where it's kind of like a yearly subscription, or maybe even a monthly subscription that's around that price. So it would always be cheaper than just buying every course that comes out by, at least double or something like that. And then, the exclusive courses, again, that's something that we would play with. It would still be the same setup where if you're subscribed and you have this course and someone else is not subscribed and doesn't and has never bought any courses, they could still play with you on the course. We're never going to prevent you from playing with a friend on a course that you own, regardless of how you own it. Or at least that's the current line of thinking. Again, everything here can change, but this is kind of how we're thinking about it. So it's all TBD, but we certainly want to, we want to give people an incentive to subscribe if they're on the fence. And I think exclusive content, we might do stuff where they're, particular golf balls or particular clubs that you get access to. We also eventually plan on kind of building out the in-game currency and having, more of this upgrade path. And progress that you can unlock by playing more and more. And if you're subscribed, we'll probably have incentives that go along with that. Because ultimately, for any business, having subscriptions just like makes it a lot easier to kind of predict what's going to happen for the business, and it makes it a lot easier for us to justify putting more and more time and energy into this game versus creating an entirely new game.
Yeah, hey man, I work at a gym. I completely get it. And man, for the amount of free content that you guys have available, not free, but like included with the base game of the price of the game,
It's a steal.
There's already so much that justifies the $20. If you guys added more courses that were completely optional, there's enough content you never even need to touch those if you don't play the game a bunch. If you play the game enough, then like Stratus said before, hell yeah, I'll buy more courses. And if there's enough to justify a subscription and exclusive things,
fiending for courses before there was courses to have.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I think I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. You guys have to do what you guys need to do,
Yeah, well, I mean,
again, there's enough content already included that all this is just bonus, It's if you don't want it, then fine, don't spend the money. But for people like me and Stratus who love it, I like this idea a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of having a pricing model that that charges people kind of based on how much value they're getting out of it. So frankly, where I would love to go with it is over time to reduce the price of the base game even more, and let more and more people try it to see if it's something that they might like, and then if they do, have these different options to kind of get more content and play more often or get more clubs or whatever that that is in line with your interest in the game. I think that makes sense. Frankly, that's how the real world works. It's kind of funny that for real golf, which obviously is a lot more expensive, but for real golf, someone who plays golf once a year is obviously not spending as much money on the sport as someone who plays every single week. In our case, you could play our game once and you paid as much as someone who plays the game every single day. And that's just kind of the nature of the games business, the like just one-time paid games business. But I think it doesn't really make the most sense to me. So I think we're going to try to move more towards a system that, that lets you kind of pay pay based on how much value you're getting out of it.
No, I love I mean, I know some people will be upset about it. It's just the way it is. They can just be in the 1%. But if a company's going to recognize that, hey, we've got this much content to offer you, and if you want to buy it all individual, it'll cost you this, which is foolish because we'll offer you this, which is going to save you, X, Y, Z, then why wouldn't someone do it? I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't particularly have a problem with it at all. Because again, what you've already brought to the table for that game being much more than one-dimensional or well, you can only do this. No, people can get over it. And plus, it's not like a developer who's saying, okay, well, we're just going to take money and that's the game, and 10 years later that's the game. There's never going to be an improvement. If somebody's willing to invest in their own business model, their own game, and either come out with upgrades or part twos, then like I've said before, I have no problem throwing money to a developer.
Cool. I appreciate it.
So like I said, I've been loving following you on Twitter about this whole Facebook ad thing. So I'll say my opinion on it real quick. I'll let you say your part. And then I have a very kind of good question about it. So to be honest with you, ads are what they are. I think people completely overreacted, mainly because of how the headlines were written. It was like Facebook forcing ads into games. It was completely overreaction. People, in my opinion, were completely dramatic about it. Ads are part of life. And if it's optional, up to developer, and it's integrated immersively, obviously like I don't know, a McDonald's ad in like Demio would probably be immersive breaking. But like there's golf ads in like real golf TV, it's not always immersive breaking. So kind of what are your thoughts on it? And then I also noticed that you were approached to include ads in your game and ultimately declined after talking about it, internally. So can you tell us a little bit about what that process was of like Facebook reaching out to you, or technically Oculus reaching out to you, and kind of like why you opted to decline at this time?
Yeah. They so we've got a, we've got a really good relationship with Oculus and Facebook. They have been, I call them a partner because, that's what it feels like to me. We've got a great partnership with them. We've worked with a lot of their different teams on a lot of different beta features. Like we were one of the first games to integrate avatars. We've done a lot with kind of their multiplayer features, like supporting parties, supporting destinations, supporting challenges and leaderboards and stuff like that. And we're just, I'm a huge fan of everything I know about what their team is working on internally. They give us kind of early previews and they give us an opportunity to integrate it, as one of the first games. So I like that a lot. It's, they also ask for feedback on a lot of their features about, around what we think could make them better, what issues we're running into. And our team is 4 people big, and Facebook has a lot of employees and spends billions of dollars on this. And, we've directly seen our feedback have an impact on a feature that gets released. So that's really cool. And that's why I think that's a big part of why I probably stick my neck out further than I should, to kind of defend Facebook around a lot of this stuff, because, everyone I've worked with there has been really nice, really smart, and it's, genuinely seems to care about this whole VR thing and what's going to be best for developers. So I just get really kind of triggered when I see people saying things that I know, or at least not consistent with my perspective on it or my experience with it. And the ads thing was actually the first and only time that Facebook had approached us to ask if we wanted to integrate this new thing. And, frankly, without even spending more than a couple minutes on it, my co-founder and I are like, yeah, that doesn't really align with, what we're trying to do right now. So we're going to have to pass. So it frankly, there was really no decision to be made. It was just very clear that wasn't a good fit for us at this time. And we decided to pass. And, they didn't have an issue with it. They said, yeah, no, totally understand. Thanks for letting us know. And that was kind of the end of the conversation. A big part of why we passed is, one, I don't think it's a great fit for the game yet. I do think at some point in the future, like you said, golf does have sponsors. I think the word sponsor and ad just has a very different feeling to it. So I think whenever the time comes, we'll probably lean in more on the sponsor angle. But we're going to have golf clubs in our full course game. We have to, right? We have to have golf clubs. And, thankfully TopGolf merged with Callaway. So we're going to have Callaway clubs in there. Those are not ads for Callaway, but they're real Callaway clubs. So they kind of are, but that's okay, I think. I mean, I think it's a lot cooler to have real clubs in the game than made up clubs that don't quite look right. So to have like a legitimate, $600 brand new driver in the game that's got the same materials as the real club, and we actually bought the real club, bought a mic, and we've been recording sound effects of the actual clubs under different conditions so that we can get it to sound right. Like, I think that kind of thing adds to immersion. I don't think it takes away. I think if a game like 11 Table Tennis had like a Stiga, table, or a Butterfly table versus another brand, and they actually match the real world brand, I think that's a great opportunity for VR to be closer to reality, but then still potentially make a bit of money from the manufacturers. We're not making any money from Callaway, by the way, but still potentially make some money from the manufacturers for, kind of marketing their product. It's like product placement, but everybody wins. So that's kind of my overall stance on ads in general. Our understanding of kind of the Facebook ads that were going to come out is we were sort of under the impression that the ads would mostly be for other VR games, not for random products, just for other VR games. So, that side of it was like, okay, if we have ads in the game that are just for other VR games, that doesn't seem as bad. But as soon as we heard the word ads, and Facebook ads, it was pretty clear to us that the community's probably not going to respond well to that, and they're not going to take the time to really understand what the ads might even have in them. So I'm glad we passed. I think what happened to Blast On was unfortunate for
Yeah, I
everybody.
feel bad. I feel really bad for Resolution Games. They're good developers, and they got trashed.
Yeah, it's really. I didn't I didn't expect the community to respond well, but I didn't expect that kind of a backlash. And I know the VR community kind of sees this as a win because they were able to pressure a studio into not doing something that they didn't like. But I think it's pretty much the definition of bullying and harassment. And I wish sometimes the VR community would take a little bit more time to think ahead to what how is this going to affect, like, how does this fit into the bigger picture. Not to say that ads are necessarily the right answer, but you know if someone's on the fence about getting into VR, if a developer's on the fence about getting into VR and they see what happened here, does that make them more or less likely to get into VR? VR is already a really hard space to make money and succeed. And knowing that the community is happy to just like destroy you over one, decision they don't like, it's not a very welcoming feeling. And I just don't think this is the way that we're going to attract more people to the space. So I just wish, I wish the VR community would. Yeah, it's fine to voice your opinion, but I just don't think it's right to write 1-star reviews and write a bunch of 1-star reviews before the feature's even been released and people even see what it's about.
Yeah, and look at the amount of stuff that Resolution Games does for free. They're dropping a new Demio update for free. Blaston's like a $10 game. They just dropped a single player
Yeah, but
campaign.
it's just unfortunately the way things are now. People get upset about something, they just mass force and take what. It doesn't matter whether you're a business or a person, you'll just get taken down.
Terrible news headlines. And I'm kind of a little surprised they didn't try it in one of the games they own too. But I'm not criticizing or anything.
Yeah, well,
No,
I think
but
Facebook, from what I've heard, at least right now, I think when they acquire a studio, they still give the developers, control over what goes into the game. So I think that's a really good thing.
okay,
At least that's
that's
my
awesome.
understanding. I don't have firsthand experience with it, so I can't say for sure, but that's my understanding. So I believe the games they've acquired had probably had the say as to whether or not they wanted to add that to the game. And I know that's the case for. Well, I shouldn't say I know, but I assume that's the case for Resolution as well. So yeah, it's a heated topic. I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of ads. I pay to have ads removed on pretty much every service like Hulu or YouTube. And I like having the option to pay to remove ads because I don't like watching ads. I don't know very many people who do like watching ads. But on the flip side, we run Facebook ads for our game because it helps us gain exposure and it helps us show our game to people who may not otherwise find it. And they work. People see the game. We're able to convert at a reasonable price that makes sense for us, and we're able to grow the game that way. So, as a small business owner that is in a very niche category, I think ads are one of the very targeted ads are one of the only ways to find your audience and succeed as a business. So, on that hand, I appreciate their value.
No, it's a necessity, I think, for some, and it's a revenue stream that some need to be able to continue doing what they're doing. I mean, it's just unfortunate that I think everyone kind of knee jerked it and didn't let anything kind of pan out and see how it's really going to play out. I personally wouldn't mind ads if they were incentivized, meaning like, okay, I'll watch the ad, but give me like, a penny worth of credit that I can apply towards something down the road. So I'm actually not wanting to see an ad.
Yeah, but let them skip it still too.
Yeah, I mean it'll play out. So I don't want to keep you all day, and I'm grateful for the time. I do have a question that's been on my mind. So we had talked about it in our podcast when we reviewed your game, but one of the first things we did was beat the hell out of each other with the golf clubs, and the the big pow, whose whose brain whose brain conceived that?
Yeah, that was me. I we bought we've bought so many packs from Unity just because being a small team and everything, it's just I think it's just it was the only way for us to get enough content. And one of the packs had this POW effect, and I just thought it was hilarious. So I added it, and I didn't tell anybody on the team, and then I did it, and just started laughing. And then every time we showed somebody, they laughed. So we're like, okay, this has to stay.
Yeah,
It's hysterical.
we're immature. That's the first thing we did.
100%.
So
100%.
So one more real quick before we let you go. I know you're a busy guy.
I
Also,
know.
real quick, man, 4 people team. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Huge props to you.
blew
That's
my mind.
unbelievable. So, I'm a big foodie. I've been wanting to visit Austin for a while. In Austin, what are your favorite things to do in Austin, and what's the best food to get in Austin?
Oh man, yeah, I should. There's so many food options. That's like one of the hardest questions. So generally, except for this time of year, being outside in Austin is great. The weather's pretty great. Summers are brutal, but other than that, the weather's great. The people are super friendly. I moved here from Virginia, and the first thing I noticed was just everybody seems like they want to be here, and they're not in a rush to kind of get ahead of you type of a thing. So everybody's just really nice and courteous. And pretty healthy lifestyle out here. People exercise a lot and do a lot of outdoor things. There's a great lake. There's lots of rivers. Some great golf
We
courses.
just got Joe Rogan too.
Yeah, we got Elon, Joe Rogan. So attracting some cool people. There's some great landscape. It's one of the few parts of Texas that has these really nice hills, so you get some nice views. So yeah, it's a beautiful city, really friendly people, and then the food is definitely food and live music are kind of the two things it's well known for. Good music festivals. Food wise, all I can say is if you just get some tacos from pretty much anywhere in Austin, you will not be disappointed, and you will just wonder why every other place in the world doesn't just copy this recipe for perfection. Like you can eat them for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. I mean, there's no end to tacos. There's a spot called Torchy's Tacos, which I think now is even outside of Texas, but that's, even though it's arguably one of the more commercial spots, that's still one of my favorites. They have amazing queso, which is another thing where it's like coming from Virginia. It's like you hear queso and you just think cheese dip, but it's like you just have to try it. It's just something else. It's just amazing. And then there are just a bunch of hole in the wall spots that lots of food trucks that have great things. And then there's the best food I've had in Austin was this place called Franklin's Barbecue, which always ranks in like top 5 or top 10 of barbecue joints in the United States. And it's like a 6-hour wait. They only make a certain amount every day, and when they sell out, that's it. And it's probably the only time I've been to a food place where it just gets built up by everybody in Austin so much. Like Franklin's is just so good, so good, so good. So you kind of go in thinking like, yeah, but is it really that good? And then you try it, and it's like, oh man, this is like even better than everyone is saying, and they said it's the best. Like, how is this even possible? So the barbecue here is amazing. The tacos are amazing. Any Tex-Mex you get is going to be really good. And then you'll probably listen to some live music while you're eating at one of the spots. It's a really great place. It makes a lot of sense why a lot of people are moving out here.
Yeah, I'm a big Aaron Franklin fan. Actually, I've heard about him a lot, and I'm with you with tacos, man. Any leftover I have, I drive my girlfriend crazy. Sometimes doesn't matter if it's egg related. A stir fry, it doesn't matter what it is, anything can go on a taco. That's actually what I have for dinner tonight. I'm going to have some burrito tacos.
Yeah, but they're not Austin.
They're not Austin tacos.
It sounds like there's such a bad thing as bad food in Austin.
Even leftover barbecue. You throw leftover barbecue on a taco. That's
taco
amazing.
brisket's like totally a thing here. No, yeah,
Yeah, and that's Aaron Franklin's thing, his brisket, right? So
Yep.
I'm starving.
oh yeah,
Now
man.
I'm starving.
To hear that belly rumbling. All right, Stratus, anything else you want to say before
No,
we go?
I'm grateful for every minute that you have spent talking to us about your current development and some of the things we can look forward to in the future, and I can't wait for these releases.
Cool.
But no, thank you again, and hopefully down the road we can hopefully get you on again and see what's taking place, because we're going to look forward to these drops.
Yeah, once we get the beta in a good spot, we'll send it your way, and then hopefully you guys are able to kind of do an early review and get your thoughts out there. And obviously, any feedback you have about the game in general, feel free to send it my way. We've been overwhelmed by the feedback from the community, and I would have never, we released about a year ago, and I would have never guessed that our community would be so awesome and so helpful. So we're just super grateful for folks like you and people that enjoy playing the game and are willing to take the time to, help us make it better.
Nope, makes me wanna go outdoors too. So I think even Scruffle said he's not a golfer in the real world, but this game kind of makes him want to go out there.
Yeah, do it. That's the goal. We want people out there on the course. It's a great game. I mean, hitting a nice shot in VR feels great. Hitting a nice shot in real life it's hard to compete with.
Yeah, you don't forget it. Never forget the good shots.
Exactly.
All right, I'm rambling. My
All right.
apologies.
Thank you again for taking the time, Ryan.
Yeah,
Have a great day.
likewise. Take care, guys.